all up on me, and I got into a car with a grown-ass man that I didn't even fucking know, y'all. I did not know this man. He could have took me to God knows whoever and killed me, and it would have been just fine because no.
And it goes a little something like
Здравствуйте to my newbies, привет to my oldies, and dobre вечер to everybody because it is the nighttime on the East Coast. Что ты делаешь? What are you doing? What's up? I'm trying something new, but before we get into this video, if you like my vibe, go ahead and subscribe, red button right down below. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram because we're lit over there. I post like 3 times a day on TikTok, and I post at least twice a day on Instagram. And I always post stories. I ask you guys what type of videos you want to see. So if you want to be a part of my content creating and you want to see me do something different and something new, or you want to hear about something, let me fucking know. I will give you the option of picking the story time. Also, we're definitely going to be doing something more than story times. I might actually film that video today, but we'll see. But right now, this is a story time. And do not know what this story time's name is called yet. That seems to be a trend of the videos that I'm creating right now. But basically, this is a story time about some crazy shit that happened to me when I was a teenager. I have a lot of crazy things that's happened to me as a teenager, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a series on my channel. So where does this story start off? Okay, this story starts off, I was 15? Yeah, okay. So I'm 15 and I'm a sophomore. I was just coming out of my depression. I had went through a 3-month depression after my best friend and her family had moved away. I was really close with them. I spent every single day with my best friend. But when she moved away, I got extremely depressed, and all I did was go to school, come home, lay down on my bed, and do absolutely nothing. But then I got reconnected with one of my friends. I don't know if she would feel comfortable with me putting her name in this story time. And honestly, we don't even talk like that anymore because, you know, we kind of we didn't fall off exactly. I just got preoccupied with all the shit that was going on in my life. She had a whole bunch of fucked up shit, I'm sure, going on in her life. So we just kind of deprioritized each other. But at some point in time, and a lot of my crazy story times takes place with this friend. We're gonna call this girl Jessica. We're gonna call her Jess, okay? That's her name from now on. My stories with Jess, my adventures with Jess. Yeah, okay. So Jess had randomly, I think me and Jess had randomly reached out to each other. So Jess had ended up adding me on Facebook, and we used to go to middle school together, but then her family had moved away and she stopped going to my middle school, so we stopped being friends. So then during high school time, my sophomore year, when I was just getting out of my depression, I started doing conditioning for volleyball again. I was starting to slowly like integrate myself back into my friend groups after being away for almost a year with just my best friend. Almost, I think it was like two and a half years I had been with my best friend like that. You know, I reached out to Jess and I'm like, hey, is this you? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to make sure it's not a scam because it was a very popular thing back in the day. 2011, 2012. Yeah, sophomore year was 2011. It went from 2011 to 2012 because I graduated 2015. So sophomore year was a very popular thing for people to make fake Facebooks, add you, and like just fuck with you. Like, I don't know if that was everywhere, but it was definitely a thing in my town. But no, she confirmed it was her. We started talking and just like hanging out. We just started talking again and we started vibing again. So then she invites me to stay the night at her house and to like go out with her. And she's always talking about, oh, people are lagging on me. People are lagging on me. You know, they don't ever want to do things with me. Like, why don't you come over? I know you're not going to lag. So I went over to her house. Now, before this, I had not really done a whole lot in the aspect of being a really like bad teenager. Like I didn't sneak out of the house. I didn't really do any of that because I was always with my best friend, and me and my best friend were all about like reading books, writing, fucking being nerds, watching TV and shit like that. Like, so I hadn't really been a teenager like that. I hadn't really told my parents I was going to my friend's house and gone somewhere else. I hadn't done none of that. Well, Jess kind of introduced me into her. Like, her mom was super cool, so all her friends were allowed to come over and we could go out to parties and go out and do things, and like it was chill or whatever. So I went to her house and she invited me to hang out with these two grown-ass fucking men. Listen, we all know what they're called. It starts with a P and it ends with a 21-year jail sentence. So we know what they were. But these grown-ass men that she had met, and my 15-year-old dumbass mind was like, oh my god, yes, we're gonna go hang out with these men who are gonna pick us up. But she was smart. She was like, let's have them pick us up from the park. And I was like, cool, whatever. And I kept thinking, I don't want to lag on her, and at this point in time, I was a dumbass. Again, I had just been introduced to the internet. I didn't know what a lot of words mean. LMFAO, LOL, like all of these things, I didn't know what they stood for. I never spoke I am. Like, I was a poor kid. I didn't even have the internet, like, until my sophomore year. So when she kept saying, I don't want you to lag on me, my dumbass mind, not having been socialized obviously with everybody else, I'm thinking that if I say no, I'm lagging. But we all know that lagging, people lagging on people or whatever, is like, y'all, you not showing up. You talking about you coming, but you not coming. You talking about you gonna do something, but you not doing it. But like what I'm thinking is, if I say no at any point, I'm lagging on her. She just went on like a 25, we were on the telephone, we were talking on the phone, and she went on a rant about people lagging on her, and I didn't want to be that person. I just wanted to be cool, and to me, Jess was cool. Jess was awesome. So I wanted to fucking hang with Jess. Like, bitch, I was depressed. I was tired of being depressed. I was tired of being sad. I was tired of it, okay? So I was just like, whatever Jess wants to do, we're gonna say yes. That was the thing that I told myself that night. So I went over to her house. We got dressed up. I remember I started doing my makeup at this time. My makeup was really, really bad. But I started doing my makeup at this time, so I'm all doing my makeup. We're walking to the park that's like 20 minutes from her. Not even, the park was like 10 minutes from our house, but like she lived in all these cul-de-sacs, and all these houses look the same, so they were never gonna figure out unless they followed us. So these niggas pick us up in this car or whatever, and we go to their apartment. Now, they have provided the alcohol. We didn't provide the alcohol. These are grown-ass men that were hanging. When I say grown-ass men, I mean these men were in the middle of their 20s, almost 30s. They were grown men, I remember. And I remember all of us talking. We're all drinking. Like, and I remember I had a cup of vodka and juice, and I had poured my own cup. But I didn't pour a lot. I poured this much vodka, and then I poured like this much juice. Like, it was like this was it, because this is how big the cup was, okay? So obviously I didn't pour a lot of vodka. So then I drank that whole thing. We're all vibing. At first I'm very awkward, because I'm like, these are grown men. Like, these are men that are like as old as my oldest brother, and it was making me a little bit uncomfortable. But as I was drinking, and as we were all laughing, and we're all listening to music, and they're showing us music, I'm starting to loosen up. Now, I remember at one point, I think it was at this point that I did smoke. I started smoking cigarettes like end of freshman, beginning of sophomore year, because I started dating this man I'm about to tell that freaking story time too. I'm gonna tell the story time about an ex-boyfriend that fetishized me. Ooh, it was bad, but that's not the story time now. But I started smoking because of his bitch ass, because of him and his mom. But basically, I remember I was like, hey, can you go buy me cigarettes? And he's like, you smoke? And so we left together to buy cigarettes. And I remember it was really weird, because he had his arm over me, and he was all up on me, and I got into a car with a grown-ass man that I didn't even fucking know, y'all. I did not know this man. He could have took me to God knows whoever and killed me, and it would have been just fine, because nobody would have known except for Jess. And Jess was there with another grown-ass man. I left my friend with a grown-ass man. We just dumb situations as a child. We just do dumb shit as kids, as teenagers, really. So I remember it was kind of weird, because people were kind of looking at us when we were in, like, it was kind of weird because people were looking at us when we were inside the store, because I remember we went to go get more alcohol, even though like they had drunk most of the alcohol, I think. But I found out that they were actually pouring their alcohol out and just pretending to drink. They were trying to get us drunk. They were trying to get us drunk so that they could, I'm gonna say, seduce us for YouTube's sake, so they don't like delete my video. But we know what they were trying to do. It starts with an R and it ends with a 21-year sentence in prison. But not to get into that. So I'm going with this guy. He ends up buying me my cigarettes. We end up coming back to the car, and I remember him like rubbing on my back and me being very uncomfortable because he was like he was like kissing on my neck, trying to kiss my lips and shit. And I was like, I don't know you like that. And me just like trying to play it off and laughing and getting out the car. And I remember we were talking about dimples or something stupid. I don't know why this is popping out. But like, I remember him like literally trying to look at my back, to look at like the top of my, like where my crack is basically, because that's where I have dimples. I have, a lot of people have dimples right there. But I remember him grabbing me very forcefully and me being like, that hurts. Why the fuck would you grab me like that? And like I snapped. Like it went from me trying to be nice to me like being upset because like this man just grabbed me up like he was my dad and I did something wrong. You're not my dad. Like that's how I felt. So then I remember he relaxed, but there was just something in his eye that was not right. It was not right. So then we head back in the house, and Jess was she was smoking. She was doing what she does, you know what I'm talking about. She was having the green stuff. I'm just trying to be good for YouTube's sake. And you know, she was having a good time. They're listening to music, they're laughing, and I'm just feeling uncomfortable. And I guess he could tell because he went over to his friend and he whispered in his ear, and then they switched. So then he started talking to Jess, and the guy started talking to the other guy, started talking to me, and like me and him actually ended up vibing more than the other dude apparently. So like we're all talking, but we're in separate places. Now their apartment setup was the living room, and then right here was like a bar. It was like a bar, and then the kitchen was inside. So I was sitting at the bar next to the bottles, my cup, my drink, and I remember I got up to use the bathroom. I felt tipsy, but I definitely wasn't fucked up. I was not drunk. But then I came back, and because I was tipsy, I remember I thought my drink was finished. I swore my drink was done. But then when I came back, my drink was like more than halfway full. And I was like, did I pour this? And he said, he's looking at me and he's laughing. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, did I pour this drink? I thought my drink was empty. He said, you just poured it before you got up and left. And then he tried to grab my drink. He said, let me dump this out for you because you must be drunk. I said, no, I'm fine. I'm just tripping. I have a bad memory. And he was like, are you sure? And the fact that he was trying to pour out my drink made me feel like he didn't do anything to it, because why would you try to pour out a drink if you did something to it? But obviously it was a lie, because I drank it. It tasted weird. It tasted stronger than I usually make it, but it also tasted weird. But like, I was like, I must be drunker than I thought. But then I said, I'm just gonna down this bottle. Jess is right there, like I'm fine. So then I drink the rest of not the bottle, I drink the rest of the cup, and I go into the living room. We're like jamming out. The dudes, they're rappers, I guess. Like one of them, the other dude that made me uncomfortable, is a rapper. So he's all rapping, and I started singing, and we're like freestyling, and we're all laughing and joking and telling stories. And like the guy that had previously made me uncomfortable started talking to me again, right? And they switched back. And like I'm starting to feel dizzy, and I remember I laid my head on his shoulder, and I'm just like feeling so dizzy, and I'm like, dude, am I drunk? Am I really drunk? But why am I just feeling dizzy now, right? And he was like, are you okay? You want to go lay in my bed? And I'm like, I don't want to lay in your bed. He's like, no, let me go lay you in my bed. I said, no, I just need some air. And I remember I pushed him hard, and as soon as I pushed him hard and I stood up, that feeling, I knew that feeling. Let me tell you something. But basically, I used to take sleeping medication that I found out was actually too high of a dosage for me, and the way that I weighed and how old I was, and I could have died. Well, this sleeping medication made me feel like I was drugged out. Like somebody had shot me full of like some kind of something, like the shit that you see in the movies where they hit them with a shot when they're crazy and they're in a psych ward and they pass the fuck out, and they feel like they've been hit by a bus and they can barely move and everything's in slow motion and everything feels like a dream. That's how this sleeping medication used to make me feel, okay? So when I pushed him away and I sat up and I felt that, I said, something is wrong. I should not feel like this when I'm drinking. I've never in my life, to this day, I've never felt that way while I was drinking. That's when I knew. Alarm bells were ringing off in my head. And so I thank God, even though the doctor definitely didn't know what the fuck he was doing, if he hadn't prescribed my sleeping medication like that, I wouldn't have known that they had drugged my drink. Okay, I wouldn't have freaking known. So then I managed to get up and walk outside. I'm sorry, I'm having flashbacks because I'm just remembering the next part and I'm embarrassed to say this, but whatever. I get up, I walk outside, and I feel so nauseous, but I can't throw up, and I'm like, I need to stick my finger down my throat right fucking now. So I stuck my finger. I've never stuck my finger this far down my throat. Never in my whole entire life. But I stuck it. I swear to God, it must have been to like right here, because I literally was shoving my hand in my throat until finally I threw up, and I kept throwing up, and I threw up all over their backyard. I threw up all over their backyard, and they had a patio backyard that was concrete, and they were on the bottom floor. So the only way to get that shit out was if they brushed it with like a brush. They were gonna have to rinse their stuff and brush it towards the little gate. No, they didn't even have a gate, because these apartments, the way the backyard was, is it was like it was a full gate, but it was like concrete, and it was concrete all the way around. And if you're from Arizona, it's very common for them to do that, and you don't actually have a door to your backyard, like your little balcony, like you don't, and they didn't have one. But I threw up everywhere. I mean, they had some chairs and other stuff. The throw up was on the chairs. It was everywhere. So then I'm looking down, and I still feel dizzy. And I'm like, this is really bad. I need to go. That's all I kept thinking. I need to get myself to safety. And like, that's where the whole self-preservation thing comes in. Because when it comes to other people and myself, I constantly choose myself. I didn't even think about my friend. And I don't know if that's the drugs talking. I don't know if that was the drugs, or if it was the self-preservation or the alcohol. We'll never know. But I hopped that fence and I started walking. When I say I started walking, I don't mean I took a few steps and I remember my friend Jess and I went back. No, bitch, I walked. I walked out of the apartment, down the street. I walked for a good 10 minutes. When I tell you I got really far before I was like, oh shit, Jess. I just left Jess there. So then I started walking back. I hopped over the fence again. I got in the house and I said, take me home. I said, I need to go home now. And Jess is looking at me and she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I said, Jess, take me home. I said, take me home now. I can't do it. So then we get into the car. She's in the back seat with me. I'm laying on my stomach in the back seat. I know I'm passed out, but I'm coming in and out, and I'm hearing them talk. I'm hearing them ask her, like, we'll take you back to your house, talking about, can we come stay at your house and just hang out with you? You guys don't have to leave. You guys can stay there. I remember them trying to, I think after I said take me home, it's a little bit blurry because obviously they had drugged me. It was a lot, like them being like, oh, you know, like just trying to convince us. But Jess was a real one. Jess never backs down to nobody. Jess is that bitch, and she really got me the fuck home. And I remember I was walking back and she was halfway holding me up and I could barely walk, and I was like, oh my god, Jess, I'm so sorry for lagging on you. I'm so sorry for lagging on you. And she's all laughing. She's like, girl, you ain't lag on me. You didn't lag on me, you know. And like, I didn't know what it meant at the time. So we get back to her house. I remember her mom was like, is she okay? And she's like, yeah, she's just drunk. They thought I was drunk. So I remember I went to sleep. I woke up hours later. It was like maybe 2-3 a.m. and I went outside, and Jess was with this guy, I guess, that she was messing with at the time, and they were out there, you know, smoking their lettuce. And I came out there to smoke a cigarette, and I'm telling her, like, they drugged me. And she's like, oh shit. And like the way she looked at me, I don't think she really believed me. I think she thought I was drunk. And because like I said, I really didn't do a lot of bad shit as a teenager, but I did drink. Like, my best friend was older than me. My best friend was 16 when I was like 14. Like, we were like, there's like a 4-year age difference between me and my best friend. So like, and her mom and my mom was all about, if you guys are gonna do bad shit, do it at home. So I had taken drinks before. I had gotten drunk at that point in time. Like, I had already gotten fucked up. I had never felt like that. I had never felt like that. But these men really tried to keep me there. And like, had it not been for Jess, I would have been kidnapped. Like, they would have, you know, starts with an R, ends in a 21-year life sentence me. And they probably would have killed me too. We never talked to those guys again after that. Apparently, from what Jess tells me, they kept trying to hit her up. I remember one of them found me on Facebook, and like for literally 2 months, they tried to get me to hang out with them. And I was like, I would just read their messages and not respond and leave their ass on red. And I would pray every day that I would never see them again. But I literally almost left my friend. Like, I got far as shit, y'all. When I say I walked out of the apartment, down the street. There was like a Circle K, I remember, that we passed by. That was like a good, probably mile and a half up. I walked all the way to that Circle K and turned around and walked back. And when I told Jess about it, she said that they actually went outside looking for me, didn't see me, and they thought I just like walked into the apartment to get more air. They didn't think that I actually left. And I was like, nah, bro, I almost left you. I was dead ass gonna walk my ass home. Like, I do not give a fuck. I did not care. All I kept thinking about was my safety. You know what I mean? But yeah, that is the end of the video. Moral of the story, don't hang out with men you don't know. Like, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay, let's not do that. If you made it to the end of the video, spasiba, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Do завтра.